Hello, watchers of the Focus Forum. We're going to be talking about this week's World Cup qualifiers. Had some on Friday, gentlemen. We talked about them on Football Focus. Let's talk about Tuesday's games. We'll start with England, who, well, I suppose warmed up nicely against San Marino, Martin, but this game against Montenegro is rather significant in the group. It
is. I mean, San Marino game, thought they played exceptionally well, as you'd expect. You know, very good for the confidence. But this is this is a tester now when you're going into that game. A little bit bare at the back. We'll be interested to see how good is Smalling, and Les got alongside him. So lots of problems for the England team. But Roy, I think after that game against Brazil, certainly, they've played with real confidence. And you can go in and hoping to win this game. I think we need to win it, really.
Did you think San Marino were unbalanced? They had too many plumbers in midfield.
Defence.
That's what you're playing against, isn't you?
Sorry. They're not... I mean, they are the joint worst team in the FIFA ranking, so yeah. I suppose...
Worst is fine. Doesn't matter if it's joint or not.
There's a big debate to be had about whether they should be in pre-qualifying or
They
whatever.
should, yeah.
OK, all right. In terms of the end of that's the end of the debate there.
Yeah.
But England will play... Some of the bigger names will come back in for this Montenegro game, we assume, and Roy Hodgson knows that it's not the group decider, but it could have a lot to say about where the two finish in the group.
Well, absolutely, because there's 2 points separating the teams at the moment, and they're up against proper strikers as well. On Tuesday, insofar as Vucinic and Jovetic are really, really good players. I think they'll end up in the Premier League in not too far distant future. So, and because of the central defensive sort of debacle, for want of a better description, that's where all the focus is going to be. I mean, Jovetic is a really, really good player, just plays like as a floating number 10, and Vucinic, the Juventus striker, is... I mean, he played the other night and scored, but didn't play particularly well. Means good player.
And it's we should remind people again, as we did last week on the Focus Forum, that only one team goes through automatically from this group, Martin. And England, of the games, once this Montenegro match is out of the way, England have 4 games remaining, and 3 of those are at home. Could that be a factor, do you think?
Well, yes, but, you know, it's ironical looking through at the games. You know, 2 of these 3 wins that they have against San Marino, so it's time now to start producing. We have to go to the Ukraine as well. They're tough matches. We know Poland from the Euros look pretty decent, probably trying too hard almost, with it being in their own back garden. So, no, it's going to be a very tough in terms of qualification. There's some really, problematic games ahead. But we expect England now, because we feel we've got decent quality, but the central defensive position really does worry me.
The other thing as well, Dan, is that when the draw was made, no one mentioned Montenegro, did they? They went, oh, Poland, well, we know about Ukraine, and thought Montenegro was sort of, well, small nation, not particularly good. At the moment, they're the best team in the group, bar none.
And having won the other night, they come into this game full of confidence, albeit with 10 men for over an hour, which would have, taken something out of their legs. But it's going to be a tough test for us.
OK, we'll see how that works out. Scotland-Wales, let's talk about their group. And remember when Gordon Strachan took over, he was very excited about being the Scotland boss. He felt it was the right time in his career.
And maybe he doesn't feel that much at the moment.
The bubble has significantly burst. His first competitive game, he'd beaten in the way that they were against Wales.
And I think you could see the way he picked his team. He picked a lot of footballers, people who were good and comfortable on the ball, and they were anything but. In all honesty, Wales were just a better team in every single way for me, and Scotland only played well for, 15 or 20 minutes, so he's got an awful lot of work to do, Gordon Strachan. I know it's only a second game, but Wales just looked as though they knew what they were doing.
Ramsey was the best I think I've seen him play. I know he gets sent off in the game, ironically, and nearly balloons that penalty over. But it was almost as if the atmosphere was fantastic atmosphere. It was almost too much for some of those Scottish players, and it took them.
A crowd.
Well, lots of people there, but the atmosphere was too great for them, and they took their time to find their feet within the match, and to be 1-0 up as they were at half time.
Very
Wales,
fortunate considering how well Wales played in that first half.
Much the better team.
Let me ask you this, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to Scotland in any way, but can you remember a worse Scottish side having in your time of? I mean, genuinely, in terms of the quality of the players that he has.
In terms of what they've done so far in the group, bottom of the group as they are, it's a very sad affair to see the Scottish, as we remembered it growing up in the 70s. They were qualifying for World Cups that England didn't qualify for, and now it's gone full circle, and it probably is the worst we've seen.
But they were missing 1 or 2, weren't they? I mean, Fletcher's in that team
went out
all day long.
4 minutes in the game.
Yeah. So they were missing 1 or 2. I think the problem with them now is they don't really have too many outstanding players. Normally, if you've got 1 or 2, you can make up the rest of the team.
I think it's a good test for Gordon, isn't it, to see how good a manager is he. His first real look at them. and he knows now he's got something to build on.
I think he knows it's a big test as well. So Scotland against Serbia, they're bottom of the group, Scotland, so not much hope for Scotland. But Wales, if they do win their game against Croatia this week, there is a possibility that they could, if they... You're smiling again.
No, it's slim.
Why can't Chris Coleman convince the team and convince the Wales fans that they have a real chance?
Bale fit's massive, everybody knows that. The other thing with Wales is, and we talked about Scotland, Wales don't have a striker, top quality striker, which, you know, when you play against the top teams in that group, that will make all the difference, regardless of the fact that Bale's been absolutely fantastic for the last 3-4 months. And that will be the problem. I think they'll fall short, because they said they look as though they're sort of 5 places up the ladder better from Scotland. Scotland have got a lot to do.
It's interesting how, you know, we've got the Swansea now and we've got Cardiff coming through, haven't we? And they're playing, really, the Welsh national team last night was passing the ball. It was great to watch, great to see. And I think that needs to be applauded. And yeah.
Were you switching over from watching England then? Well,
that was my most difficult task, was switching between the channels.
I've got an excuse. I'm Irish. I think you should have been watching England.
Nothing wrong with being across all the games, Martin. Talk just briefly about the Wales strikers. It shows you, doesn't it, that those emerging nations like Montenegro can call upon Vucinic and Jovetic, and Wales don't have that sort of quality.
Well, I think that's the difference, because a lot of those, they're not minnows, but the smaller teams, they've got good players. That once you get that quality up front, that doesn't half make a difference. Really, seriously, massive.
And talking about quality, Northern Ireland, no game against Russia at the weekend because of the snow. Hopefully against Israel at Windsor
Called
Park
off twice.
Yeah,
it's unusual.
But do you give them any opportunity in their group? Is this another campaign where they've just got to... What's the purpose of this campaign for them?
Well, Mike O'Neill, he's relatively new into the job. And the other thing, and it really is with the smaller countries, getting a good team is cyclical. You might just get 5 or 6 players just come through at one stage, and that's the difference. But if you looked at Northern Ireland and if you said to Scotland, Wales, Republic, you could take any of their players, how many would you take? I don't think, you know, to get in your first team, I don't think you'd take many.
I think that this come up again this week about a united Ireland, and you just wonder how much longer the Northern Ireland can exist on their own, because they want that. Of course they want that. They're very passionate. But the quality they have now is diminishing, because a lot of their players, of course, are going and choosing to play for Republic.
I think you should go over there and try and go for the United Ireland. You might be back in 10 minutes.
Martin Keown as manager, pressing all the political buttons. I like that.
Well, I could manage it. To both Irish parents, I could actually qualify.
There you go, you're in.
All three of his parents. All 3 of his parents were
more
Irish
than him.
Not too damn right, yeah.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. By the way, Football Focus live from Wigan on Saturday, and the week after that, hopefully, we're going to be live again on the road from the National Football Museum in Manchester as well. So join us 12:15 on BBC One. Thank you to these two. Coverage on 5 Live of all those internationals this week as well, and we'll no doubt be talking about them on Saturday too. But from myself, Martin and Mark, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.